Good morning. Yeah, welcome to another week of guestbook. We started some work last week, and today we are continuing with the same. So let us see how far we're gonna go today. Right, so let me just adjust some things here, and we'll be good to go. We will be good to go. That should stay like that, and I think you're fine. All right, so over here, just a second, studio. All right, so code G2. What you're building is a guest book. Let me try and just a sec. Uh, so what you're building is a guest book. This is where we left at last week. Yeah, Max does a very good job for of keeping everything as it was. Yeah, you just have to go to another window and the multiplexer will do the thing and remember, oh, we're doing this. So anyway, where was I doing the server from again? I think it was from this other side. So let me do npm start, npm run dev. Yeah. Then we can go and check on what we have so far. All right. So this is what we have so far, and the only thing we're building is a simple guest book, where it is a series of trying to experiment with what we call this full stack Nuxt.js. Yeah, many people know Nuxt as a front-end JS framework, something like Next, because it was inspired by it. But yeah, I feel like it can do more, and it has been trying to do more for a while. And this stream is trying to just push it to the limit and see what we have there. So last week, what we did Control B previous. So last week we were able to get a little bit far. So we have this endpoint, this API endpoint. We check it here on the server side, server API. So we have this endpoint over here. So if you go /API, then greeting, then send a post request to it, it will be handled by this event handler. And what you're doing for every request, because we decided to use SQLite for the first version to make the configuration easy. So all it does is create a table if it does not exist for greetings. Then it will insert, we're not validating anything, but it will get the greeting, the message from the request. Then it will just return the last returned ID and whatever is submitted. So that is what we did at that point. So I think the next logical step would be to try and present these greetings to the front end, and maybe try and move things around so that it can be nicer. For now, let us just should we create another page? So we have this page over here, which contains all the logic. We're not doing anything with the response, which is okay for now. And I think this logic should go to the form for creating the page, for creating the greeting. And another thing that should happen should be, now we should have a dedicated page called create. So let me just stop the server because this thing caches aggressively and it can create bugs that will have us debugging for hours. So I'm just gonna close this first, then go to the previous page. Then I'm gonna come here to pages. Then I'm gonna press X. Should it be X? Really? I should just, huh? How do I cancel this cut? I don't know. New table is showing me bad things. So we're gonna come here to app, pages, index.view. So what we need to do is to rename this from index.view to let's say grid.view. Then we can have another page here, or we can create it with Nuxt. So we have a page for creating a greeting, and let's do let's have also an index page and greetings.view. I think that makes sense. So Nuxt has this cool CLI npx Nuxt add, I think add page, right? This should work. Should be add. Yeah, cool. So they're recommending to call add template, then the template name. All right, let me just do that. Add template, then the template name is a page. Then I should input the page name. Then so we have our create page already. If we go back here, control B previous, we have a grid. So let us create index for where everything will land. Then let us add another page called greetings, where you can go and view all the greetings. So now we have a separation of logic and stuff. Now we can restart our server, npm run dev, and hopefully everything will be okay, because Nuxt can show you bad things sometimes. All right, so if I come and refresh here, you can see we're using the default layout. The index page doesn't have anything. And I think that's okay for now. So what we need to do is we're basically doing CRUD. Yeah. Yeah, that's a to mark section from last week. I have that last longer. So I work a lot from the terminal, and when I'm working on a project and something happens, maybe I have to switch context or anything. I just switch context by at max. I can just do Control W or Control B, then W. Then I have all these windows of work. Most of these have not been committed. Most of these have not been saved. They just work somewhere in my session. And when I turn off the computer, I don't lose anything either because it has the ability to, oh, I'll only lose the things that I've not saved, but these windows will just remain the same. So I can quickly move between projects without switching the terminal or doing anything. All right, so that's it. So we started our server. So let us go back here. So we have our greeting. So in our index page, we want to be able to present all the greetings, but we do not have an endpoint to do that. So we need to create an endpoint, the same as this, going to the API side over here on the server, API. So we have greeting.post. We are doing CRUD, we are doing REST CRUD. So all you need to do here is to greeting.get so that you can get all the greetings. And that will be it. All right, so again, to be cautious, I'm just going to stop the server because on day one I was debugging a bug that wasn't a bug. It was just Nuxt's aggressive caching and some other stuff. So if I recall yesterday, I think I created a server route and I'm just going to do, I forgot about it. Let me see if I can remember. Where are my commands from last week? It forgot. So, or maybe I needed to do this in Pexnusi, add template, add page, add page, add page, add page, add page. Yeah, clean up. I'm pretty sure I had it. So npx Nuxi add template. I think this is how it's called. So this is the available templates here. So API, yes, I think it's API. Then I'm gonna do, it's going to the APIs, module plugin, or is it a server? It's a server route, sorry. Server route. Then I'm gonna name it, let me just double check. I don't wanna double create something. Let us just go back here. Right, so oh, I need to go to Nuxi. Okay, so server out. So server out hello world. Or should I go to the Nuxt documentation? Nitro. Does Nitro have these commands? I don't think so. All right, so I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, let me just if I create the wrong one. So server out API, then we're gonna do greeting the get. Yeah, I was just doubting myself for nothing. npm run dev. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to be here. So I've just created a server route over here. It goes under greeting.get.ts. Okay, there's also some cool stuff I love about Nuxt. Now I don't need to create a separate routing file. I just need to place files in specific places. So if I place a file in under server routes API, so this is an endpoint for me. So when someone goes to what do you call this particular endpoint, and now in the specific route, there's also a method. So this will listen to get. So the traditional way of managing a separate file, just to write routes, then you go ahead and maybe write controller logic and other stuff. That does not exist here. So and this is why I like how they've done this. One thing I don't like about Next is how much memory it uses. My landing page, my main website is running on Next because I'm experimenting using it, and it is using like 250 MB at rest without heavy traffic, and that for me is unacceptable compared to something that will be written, let's say, Go and or even a Node.js project that is not server-side rendered. It will take way less memory. So what I do probably, maybe I'll take the server-side part called Nuxi and go with it. But combine both of this framework, the Nitro and Nuxt, when you combine them, what you get is a very powerful combo. And I think it's a trade-off. But I don't like how much Node.js with SSR consumes memory. And the main reason why Node.js consumes a ton of memory is because you can imagine it is running something similar to a headless browser, because we have something called SSR. So we have this Vue.js that is supposed to be rendered in the browser, but you're now forcing it to be rendered in the server. So of course that's going to cost you. So that what do we call it? That convenience that you're getting everything SSR, search engines don't get to struggle. The first initial load is fast. You're paying for it in memory. And I don't think we have to, because traditionally, using frameworks like Laravel and stuff, you also get SSR, even though it is painful to develop, but you don't pay for it in that large amount of memory. So it's all about trade-offs. So our server starts again, then we go back here. So we do have our, I don't know why it's not here yet. So let me just close this, come back. No, I don't know how to refresh this heading. So I'm gonna use the good old entries or something. Is it entry? Yeah. And go to server, routes, API. What just happened? Why do I have greeting.get? Oh, 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 oh. I messed up. So I needed to add it to server route. So I messed up the command. I messed up the command. So let me see what I did here. I messed up the command. I messed up. So Control B, scroll mode. Let me see the available things you can do. So the template is API. Okay, so there's a difference between a server route and an API according to this Nuxt thingy. Then the server module. Yeah, so I shouldn't have used the server route one. I should have used API. All right, so no worries. Let me just do this. So let me just try and do API. You should be reading documentations, kid. Then I need to delete this. That is for something else. So yeah, I think it is a good thing, cool thing they have a specific one for generating APIs and a specific one for this. All right, so I need to close this. I don't know if you could close the entire thing. It's not a window, and I can't exactly do this because okay, it does it. All right. So API greeting get, then greeting dot what do we call this? Post. So this one is for creating. It is CRAD. So create, read all. Maybe you should have for read one, maybe later, but now this should be the one that queries the database and gets all our greetings. So if we go back here, npm run dev, then go to this right tab. So let me just clean this up. Then you do curl. I don't know, you should remember localhost. So let me just remove this. Then you see you're getting a response, hello greeting.get, which is exactly what we have here, which is cool. Now, all you need to do is now query the database and return a JSON of this information. So the first thing we do, it can look repetitive, but maybe you always start repetitive, then refactor later. That is always the rule. So use database, oh yeah, composables. So let us create a DB here in this variable equals use database. Oh, constant DB equals use database. All right. We're not using the event for now. I think we can underscore it. All right. So if we check out the signature, it's being loaded correctly. And if you can see, use database has not been declared anywhere, but magically it's just appearing here. Thanks to the power of whatever the Nuxt people are doing. It's a very good job. The code base is clean. Yeah, if you've written something like, what do you call this, Spring Boot, you'll be killed by verbosity. It's death by a thousand lines. But here we're not importing anything. We should have imported define event handler to show what it means, use database and this stuff. But here we're just doing things, just writing code. Everything else is happening. And of course you're paying for that by heavy tooling and other stuff. But I think it's worth it. So I don't remember the syntax well, so I'm just gonna come here and familiarize myself again. So to query, you can do db.sql. then you do create table if it not exist. So for us, we're going to select from greetings. All right, so come back here. We're not going to paginate for now. So we're gonna say here constant greetings greetings equals db dot, I think SQL, right? Who came up with this syntax? Select, then you do a wildcard. Ideally, you should only be selecting what you need, but here you're going to use the wildcard asterisk character. Then from greetings, return everything. Then if you check our signature here, it is returning a promise. So it means we have to await for this because we don't want to then ourselves to death. So await, then it will tell us the parent function is not async. No, sorry. So we just select the first code action over here to make it async. And now greetings, it will be an SQL result. So I think it will be arrow. So I think we have a chance of maybe typing it. But as I told you, you go verbose first until things work, then you refactor later. So I'm just gonna copy this style again here. Then put the interface here. Then greetings. Let us try and type it. So it's gonna be greeting, but an array of it. I hope you'll accept my typing. So if I do this, yeah. So just to confirm, so I kind of hate this about TypeScript because we're just telling it that this type will be this, and if someone made a mistake, there are no guarantees that this would work at runtime. If someone made a mistake and maybe did the wrong typing, and maybe they want to do modifications of data. So for example, we can say something like greetings dot for each, then a lambda function here. So we can say a callback. How do we write? Oh, we can do our functions in JS, right? So we want to do something for each of the greeting, for example. Then let us call our greeting G. So we have access to greeting dot email to something. So let's say we say greeting dot email. We want maybe to do something with it, and you typed it without enforcing your style and stuff. There's no compiler to protect you here. So it's a mistake you made, and you're gonna have to live with it. But anyway, we're sure it's a small code base, and also it's also a good idea to just write SQL like this. Separate the query building statements from, let's say, variables and stuff. Then all you gotta do here, we're just gonna return greetings. That's it. That's our logic. That's it. And we are not using event, so I think it's safe to remove event here. Event could be, so maybe let's say if you are doing pagination and stuff, event would contain all that metadata we need. And if you compare this to something like Express.js, Express.js will force you to use rec, res, then it will also have a variable for next that sometimes you can escape without using it. It is pure verbosity. Here, we don't have a use for something, it doesn't appear in our code base. And we're not forced to think of this like an HTTP endpoint or something. We're just writing a function. Like if you check this like clearly, this is just a function. This is we are calling define event handler. Inside that, there's an arrow function, which is a callback, and here's our logic. And all our logic does is call return greetings. And the framework should handle everything for us. What kind of should it return JSON or everything that is handled for us. So let us go to curl and see what we got here. See, so we have JSON, but we have something I don't have here. It also includes something I didn't ask it to include. So it has, let me just scroll back here. Okay, yeah, all right. So it has to, I think it is good. It is structured in a way. I don't like this design, but I like that it's structured. It has rows, then, so this could also mean that either our typing is wrong of the result to expect. Yeah, because this is straight out of the SQLite database. And this is what I was talking about. Our typing is wrong. So because if we remove this, our typing is so wrong. So if we remove this and then type, you see? So greeting.rows is what's supposed to be what you are returning over here. This is why, this is what I hate about just doing TypeScript thingy. So we need exactly the array of things, and that's what you're getting now at our endpoint. So we want to present this data in our front end. This is some greeting security streak while building the feature. So what we're gonna do now is just present this data in the front end. Looks easy, but let us see how Nuxt wants us to do it. All right, so app pages. So I think it is a great idea to present it here. And Nuxt offers convenience methods. And let me, okay, I had do not predict here. All right, so yeah, in a normal application, let's say like a normal, let's say like React or maybe a Vue application, you'd use something like fetch, or even if you lack class, you'd use something like Axios. Yeah, we just know you're a boomer. Anyway, but here in Next we have convenient methods like fetch. All right. So yeah, this is Vue. Oh, Vue.js is a what do you call this? Vue.js is a framework like React. That is the simplest way I can put it. Then yes, I'm using TypeScript here. In writing this, I can also use JavaScript inside the logic, but I'm using TypeScript because yeah, it's just good. It's just the default now. All right. So we have convenient methods like fetch. This is has a similar API like the browser's fetch, but it what do you call it? It has some benefits like for example, a big difference is how you input the body. So let us go to the work we did last week here. If you see, use fetch under the hood calls fetch. So if you see in the body, you'll not be able to do this with the browser fetch because the body either has to be a string. So if you have a JSON, you have to JSON stringify for it to be a string. And yeah, sorry, I was looking at the chat. For it to work, or either use a form data. But here, you just input your JSON the way it is. You see, you just put your object and it will do the magic for you. And another advantage this has, like if you are server-side rendering, instead of creating a network call for your endpoint, you can see, if you see our server-side pages, like server API greeting.get. So if I'm calling greeting.get while SSR, it will not make a network call. What it will do, it will call this function directly. So it will skip everything here and call this callback function here directly, then put that data in the page. So SSR is very fast for this. And right now, what we're going to do is exactly that. So I don't know how I'm going to be able to prove that, but here I just know I'm going to do SSR. All right. So there are methods, like you can go use async data. Use async data. I think I should show you guys this from from the browser. Let me just, yeah, remember that in this streams you Google so that we can learn Nuxt data fetching or something. So that we can be on the same page on what I'm talking about. So Nuxt provides a very composable for data fetching in application. So Nuxt comes with two complex composables built in the library to perform data fetching in the browser server environments. Use fetch, user sync data, and fetch. In a nutshell, fetch is the simplest way to make a network request. Use fetch is a wraparound fetch that fetches data once in universal ending. So this is what I was describing. So I don't know. Some people have seen. I don't know. It was a use effect bug when if you SSR it will fetch data and then if you go to the client side it will fetch again. So here use fetch. If you're on the server side, it will fetch once during universal rendering, and it also have one cool thing it does. Instead of now making a network call when you're doing SSR, it will call that function directly. Then user sync data is similar to use fetch with more fine-grained control. So this one gives you more control. This is a cool wrapper around things. So always prefer use fetch for internal APIs, user sync data for external and where you want more control. So both use fetch and user sync data share common set of options and patterns we'll detail in the last sections. All right, so I think this gives you an overview of what you're going to do. So we're going to use fetch. Then we call our API endpoint. Then this is destructuring, so we can have access to our data immediately. And one thing I also like is you can be able to use top level awaits instead of a constant over here, which is very cool. Then the submit, you can see when submitting, you can use both use fetch or you can use fetch. So I think this is more idiomatic, but in my submit, I used this. There's no big harm, but this is more idiomatic when you're creating post requests and like that. So there's suspense, this is a views boundary layer under the hood to prevent navigation before every async data is available. Then the fetch uses the fetch library. So it is just like it is just like the browser fetch, the API, but it is completely different. So if maybe you don't want to use the browser fetch because of some reason, because it's limited, and you also don't want to use Axios, you could try and use this one, fetch, which you're going to, it is being used under the hood here. Now we can do, you can pass headers to the API using fetch. So this fetch is a composable that uses fetch in the hood to make the safe network calls. So we're going to use this to get our API response. Then we're going to be able to do that. So async data, you can wrap async logic returning the result once it is resolved and stuff. So I've only mainly used async data for third-party APIs, but for first-party, I prefer just using use fetch. And yeah, so that is how I navigate this. So if we go back to our code now, so I'm not going to use async data, and I'm not going to use Axios and stuff because I've outlined the advantages of using use fetch. So let us create our destructuring. So data, then I can name it anything. Let us be idiomatic, name them greetings. Then code killer Tusha. Okay, I don't know what you mean by what kind of development is this. But what you're doing is we are creating a guest book using Nuxt.js. Yeah, so that is what you're doing. And let me say, I can call this full stack development. Yeah, because Nuxt does both. So, so we can do use fetch. Another cool thing, when I just press the quote key, it will give me an option for API greeting. It will autocomplete the route for me. So it is, what can I say? Uh, yeah, it is very DX friendly, developer experience friendly. Anyway, so we can see our greeting. Yeah, we did not type our greetings in the server. If we had, I think it should be able to show us the kind of thing we do. Oh, let us just try and do that and see. Let us not speculate. All right, so let us call this result because this is actually not greeting. Then let us do const greetings. Give it a type. Let us give it a type greeting, an array of greetings. Then say equals result dot rows. So this is more correct. Yep. Then let us do what's happening. Okay. Yeah, I think this is better. It is telling us of. Yeah, so should I do, where do we insert partial? Can partial work here? Partial greeting. Really? I'm just guessing things right now. All right. So should partial end up to this point? I don't know if this is possible. I'm just guessing. Okay. So the issue with our typing here, it is telling us, or I can force it. As will this work? As unknown. Yep. You can just force TypeScript to conform. Tell you my guy. So it is greeting. So if you go back to our front end, greetings.view greetings. So this is where we at. No. Oh, index. I don't know why I created the greetings page. Anyway, so let us try and check the type for this. Yeah, you can see it has our type. So we have type safety from end to end, which is also magic. So you don't need to create separate types in the front end if you're fetching data from the backend. So somehow I'm able to access the type here. You can see it is a serialized object, which is an array of greetings, which is cool. We force it to be greeting. Now let us present this data in our page. So ideally, let me just have a main here. Then let us have a div. Let us have a h1. Then saying, let us call it greetings. Now we are going to present our data from the database here. So let us do div. Then, so in view, to present data, if you have data that is in an array, you can just go inside any div tag, then call v hyphen. Is that an hyphen? Forward slash, I don't know, forgotten punctuation. V4. Then we create a loop here. So we can say greeting in greetings. So if we check the signature of our greeting over here, it is one greeting, right? Now let us go here and should I do a P here? Say let's say name of the person who sent the greeting. So we do greeting. No. So we interpolate like this. Sorry for that. We interpolate, then we call greeting name. And let us go to our page and see what's happening. Okay, so you can see our greetings from the database are being displayed here. So we are only displaying a name for each name. The second person who left a greeting to our website is called John Doe. The third person is John Doe. Now let us add other fields. So double yank, then so so here we're gonna do greeting email. So the person who greeted us, yank this again, then greeting message. All right. So and just like that, we go back to the browser. We can see the name. Wait, do I need to refresh this? Did I not save it? Now what's happening? Oh, I'm calling every field name. Scale issue. I call scale issue, so this should be called email. Then this should be called message. All right. So the first person who greeted us had this name, had this email. I know we have an ID somewhere, but we don't have it in our type. Oh yeah. So the reason for us typing on the server side, you can see here we've not declared any type for greeting. These types are coming from the server side. And if you're doing full stack, many full stack frameworks don't give you this end-to-end type safety. No? Oh, sorry. I should be showing you this. Yeah, so if you see here, if you check the signature for name, you can see the string. And we have not typed anywhere here. So this type safety is coming from the server side. And I've used Laravel a lot. I've used Adonis. I don't know, Adonis improved, but let me speak now from the experience of Laravel. So this Laravel is full stack, but if you're using Blade, you're probably gonna be fine. But if you're using a front-end framework, because Blade limits is bad for DX, it's good for users, but bad for DX. So if you wanna feel productive, you're gonna go with something like Vue, and also it can enhance experience way faster while not making the developer hate the job. But now getting this kind of thing, there are third parties that can do this, but here you just get it for free. I didn't do anything. I got it for free, right? So this is one of the things. So define the types once we call on the server side, then you're good to go. Then let us try and style this. So we only have one div in our page, right? Okay, let us style the way we styled the first version, and we call it nest maxing. I don't know, yeah, I don't know. So we're gonna nest it. So in our component, we have a main. So we are styling everything inside one block, like we did with the first version. Then, of course, we have a H1. So we're gonna skip H1. Then let us go and style the div. I think and does the first. I don't know. We looked it up the other time. I don't remember. We will just be guessing until things work. So what do we want? We want this div to stand out so that it can be easy on the eyes. So if you go on the page, you can see it is hard to know where a greeting started and where it ended. So ideally, this should be a distinct container so that anybody reading these greetings can be able to see that, right? So let us make that happen. So let us first of all give it a border. I just like doing one px, then solid. Then let us give it a gray. All right. So we've given it a gray border over here. So let us go and see it in action. So this is more like it, right? So we have our greetings over here. We can see where greeting A ends and greeting B ends, and that's cool. So I feel like let us give each greeting a margin. I don't know if there's a way of doing margin Y. Let me just call it manually. I suck at CSS. So margin top, let us put some spacing of like 5 px for each. Then let us do the same. I don't know, should we do 5? Okay, so let us just try things out here. Yeah, CSS is where we just be guessing. All right. So if we go back here to our browser, you can see we have some nice spacing between that. Now our text here is very close to the border, which doesn't look so nice. So let us do something about that. So we do margin top, margin bottom. So margin is the outer space. Then let us do some uniform padding. Let us try and do the same 5px here. So our padding 5px, and let us see what happens. Yeah, it has kind of moved. I don't know why there's a big gap on top here. I don't get it. For greeting and greeting, so 1px, margin top, margin bottom. We need more padding, like 10px. I don't know, 10px. So like at 10px padding, see what happens. Okay, I think it looks good enough. We're not trying to create a pixel perfect thingy. Then border radius, this one should be, let us go crazy with this, right? Yeah, I kind of like how this turned out. Then the general layout, you shouldn't be filling the entire screen, but that is not the concern for now. Maybe you could add some shadow over here. But so far, I'm cool with this. I'm cool. I'll put this on GitHub. If anyone feels like improving it, cool. But this is where my relationship and CSS ends. We're done. We're done. So that's it. That's it to the presentation layer. And now, so if we go to our localhost, we are able to see the greetings that people left, and that is okay. We are not paginating or anything, just a simple presentation. And the main focus here is, of course, the logic layer of everything. Like you can do how we've wired things from the backend. So we created a server API, which is uh, it just calls a built-in function called define event handler, which is a global function. Then inside that, we created a callback, and the callback, we call this composable that imports a database to us. And if you are not here in the previous stream, this is how we configured our database. We did not configure a database. Just for information, the database we are using here is SQLite because that is the default. So maybe we're going to move it to MySQL and add migrations to prevent doing stuff like this. But that's it. And we also have an endpoint here for creating greetings. So it also checks if the table exists. If it doesn't, it just adds it. And I think this query should also be on the other one for safety for now, because we're using SQLite and we do not have migrations. And this is a disadvantage, of course, because in every request, we are creating a DB. All right, including the commented end. So this is just for the time being. And as I said, the general rule with the development, make things work first, then refactor later. So here we're speed running the logic and stuff. We are not even speed running the logic and other stuff, which is cool for that. All right, so far so good. So we've had some success. Our index page presents our greeting. It fetches them from the API. Well typed, comes here. then uses v4. So this will recreate this div the number of times the greeting exists. In view 2, you'd be encouraged to use something like key. And here I can use greeting, but let's say email as key because in our database email is unique. But I've not seen that being recommended in view 3 with the linter, or if you check the dev tools, it does not tell us to do that. So maybe they found a way of optimizing this to prevent maybe duplication and other stuff. A lot of improvements there. So far, so good. So now let us so you can imagine when you're visiting a greeting page and you also want to say hi. Yeah, so this is now the problem with our method here, because we'll figure it out later. Because if I add another div here, it will also use this styling. So I'm just gonna create a plain link here. So in Nuxt, I think we do Nuxt link. Then two should go to, I think so. Then let us call this say hi. All right, so if we go to the browser, we can see our link over here. I hope it's not a 44. Yeah, it's a 44 because there's no such page. Yeah, it's called greeting. It's called greet. So go back here. So if we go to say hi, it takes us to a page where we can also say hi. So let us say our name is like Ashley Doe. Our email is ashley at mail.com. I'm rating it as I'm reading it at mail.com. So we're leaving another greeting, and let us go on our page. We remember we did not even sort. So let us see. I think it will appear at the very bottom, but ideally I think we should be sorting from the latest. We should also add created that and updated that, but that will be a project for later. So I can say I love this website. I love this website because it feels like browsing the web in 2012. There's absolutely no styling at all. Then you can click assign guestbook. So another thing we'd notice here, there's no feedback or anything. There's no link to go anywhere else. We're gonna deal with that. But if we just click that send greeting, then we go back to our home page. You can see Ashley Doe's messages here. And if I refresh this, you can check it is server-side rendered. The page comes with it. So there's no, even if I have slow internet. So all this work happens in the server, and we get this immediately. So let us do some work on our say hi. So the first thing I think we should work on the layout. Right, yeah, I think I should work on the layout so that the layout can contain the links to move between pages so that we can have a nice navigation over here. So that I think we've done most of the work in our guest book. Now, what is remaining, let us fix the navigation. Then we're going ahead to fix, if we get time, we only have 5 minutes, so we'll only be able to work on the navigation. Then tomorrow, we're going to fix this form to be more user-friendly, maybe add more validation and stuff. And slow by slow, we're going to make this production ready because this is not production ready at all. If you deploy this guestbook somewhere, you will get a lot of unwanted emails and unwanted stuff, right? So we'll go into that phase where we try and prevent these common pitfalls. But for now, let us just add navigation on the layout. Maybe we're gonna beautify it later and others and do some more stuff. Now let us just work on the layout. All right. So we're back here. to the code editor. All right, so let us open our layouts, default.view. So this is all we have here. So what we can have here, instead of just telling people layout to default, now we gotta create the navigation bar the old school way, which is pain. So first of all, we call the nav. Nav is basically a div, but it is a class of these things we call semantic HTML. I don't know, that is the name, but it's just a div, but it just helps you read what's happening. So, no, 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 redo. So we're going to have here a title. I'm just gonna do like H5 here. H5 in our guestbook and call this guestbook. Then let us see what's happening in our page. Yeah, looks cool so far. Then let us continue. So usually we put a small div here. This was my trick back then before, when I was still writing heavy CSS without component frameworks. Then here, was it a div or was it a list? I think it was a list. So a div maybe would help me separate these two. So this means I could do a div here so that I can be able to separate the first end and the last end. If you have tricks for doing divs, for doing navigation bars, please. Then I think here I could do a div so that I can use display block to separate these two, then do a UL. Then here we can say something like Nuxt link. Then this goes to home. I should add an li. Basic HTML. So this should be an li, right? Li. Li. So let us look at our page. Yeah, it is going exactly as I want. This is what I want it to look for now, so that I can use CSS to now place it where I want it to be. All right, so we have our first li. So let us yank that, put another link below here. So that is home. Then we can call greeting. Then sign book. Let us just call this sign book. So this is the endpoint for now, sending us a greeting. And if you check our page, you can see we have our navigation. Looks that way. Now, this is how we do some magic. So let us call our navigation bar here in the CSS part. All right, so sorry for that. So do you, so nav has, so let us try display. Let us flex it. Then let us check what's happening in our page. Exactly what we want. Then let us do justify. Is it justify? All right. Space between. So justify, I don't know. There was space between. I don't remember the exact style. We're going to deal with that later. But for now, inside the nav, we need to also, so we have nav, we have divs, both displaying as flex. Then we have the second div. I'm just gonna style them as one. So let us do what we call this. Next link, next link, next link. So I also, which has a UL. Yeah, I need to go back to CSS school. If I need to redo, and I understand why we just decided as an industry to just go and do Tailwind and forget about all this pain. So the UL I can do also display. We are flexing so much. That's your web page. Not bad. Then I think we can do a gap here between, I don't know. So we're displaying it flex. So this will be a gap between children. So let us give it like 10 px. No, 10, 10, dude, 10. Yeah, we're going overboard. With the time, our time is up. So we should be able to wrap at this point. We are wrapping up, we are wrapping up, we are wrapping up, we are wrapping up. So gap of 10 px. I can see. So we have our li. So our link still has the list item style thingy. So I think, do we do the list style here? Then we call none to remove those. Yeah, so I think that is how we should do it. So list style none. So if we go back to now our page, we have a basic navigation bar. They are not properly aligned. This can be fixed. It's a CSS flex issue. But the good thing is for now, you can go from sign. What happened? What is the link? Oh, it's greet, not greeting. So we have a basic navigation. So this is not greeting. This is greet. So tomorrow, I'm not gonna focus more on the styling. It is not my strong point. This pull request is public. This repo is public. Check the link for description and other stuff. If you feel like you're good at fixing styles, you're welcome. But for me, this is good enough. As a backend developer, this is good enough. So we have a basic navigation from page to page. We will add cool things like transitions so that the page animates as it enters and it leaves and other stuff. These links, for example, home and signbook will move to this far end. These will be properly aligned and stuff like that. And the form will also have some validation to make it production ready. And that will be it. And also in the landing page, we will add some pagination and maybe on the next streams, replace SQLite with serious adult databases, like my SQLite with serious databases like MySQL, maybe Postgres, and stuff like that. And yeah, so we are progressing nicely. And that was it for today's stream. We're only doing 1 hour of this every day. So catch me again tomorrow at 10 a.m. East Africa time. That is 7:07 hours UTC. See you on the next. Happy coding. Bye bye.